today, guys, we're going to be reacting to I found my dead brother living in my basement from his stories.
My mom miscounted the pills before she left for Chicago. I found out Friday evening when I popped open Saturday's slot and it was empty, and Sunday was empty, and I shook the whole organizer over the counter like an idiot hoping one would materialize, and nothing came out. Both my parents were in Chicago for the weekend. The backup bottle was on the storage shelf in the cellar, which meant the one place I needed to be was the one place my leg couldn't take me. I tore through every cabinet in the kitchen with my heart climbing because I already knew they were empty. Bathroom, hall closet, parents' nightstand. Every empty shelf made the throbbing worse, like my leg could sense I was running out of options. I called my mom. I ran out of meds. You miscounted. Oh no. Oh honey, I'm so sorry. I need the backup from the cellar. No. Her voice shifted to something faster and tighter. You can't make it down those stairs with your leg. You could fall. I need the medication, Mom. Take a hot bath and use the heating pad. We'll be home by 3 tomorrow and I'll bring them right up. It's not a headache. My leg is on fire. I know, honey. Just please don't try the stairs. Promise me you won't try the stairs. I told her I promised because that was easier than arguing. I didn't mean it. The heating pad helped for 20 minutes and then the throbbing came back worse, like it was punishing me for thinking it would work. I ran a bath and sat in it until the water went cold and the pain climbed from my knee up through my hip like something alive crawling through my bones. I dried off and limped to the kitchen and gripped the counter and stood there breathing through my teeth. By 9 p.m., I sat on the kitchen floor with my back against the cabinets and both hands wrapped around my knee, squeezing like I could hold the bones together. The medication was 30 feet below me, behind a door my mother begged me not to open. I pulled myself up using the counter and limped down the hallway. The cellar door was at the end of the kitchen hallway. My mom always said the stairs were too steep for my leg and to stay out of there. I'd never argued because I had no reason to go down, until now. I pulled it open and stale air hit my face, smelling like concrete and dust and something underneath it that made my neck prickle. Steep wooden stairs dropping into black. I gripped the railing with my right hand and my phone flashlight with my left and took the first step. The wood groaned. My bad leg dragged behind me and the knee buckled on the third step, and I grabbed the railing with both hands and my phone slipped out of my grip and bounced off every step and landed at the bottom with the light pointing sideways into the dark. 3 steps down in total black with my bad leg shaking under me. One fall and the leg would snap in the same place it broke when I was 2. Every intelligent thought I had said, go back upstairs and wait for Mom. Instead, I gripped the railing and went down blind because the pain was louder than the fear. 1 step at a time, palms sweating on the wood, bad knee grinding with every drop. I reached the last step and my bad leg gave out and I dropped to the concrete and caught myself on my hands and knees. I grabbed the phone and swept the light across the cellar, concrete walls and an old furnace and metal shelving. I found the medication on the second shelf and the relief hit me so hard, my eyes burned. I dry swallowed 2 pills and leaned against the shelf with my eyes closed, waiting for the throbbing to ease. Then the light drifted left and caught color on the wall behind the far shelf where there shouldn't be color. I pushed myself up and limped closer and my breath stopped. Pencil drawings taped to the concrete, trees with full canopies and birds in flight and a pond with geese lined up along the bank. Not 1 or 2. I swept the light further and found dozens more, then hundreds. Rooftops and streets and a gas station I recognized from the corner of Maple and 5th. Someone had drawn our entire town on the walls of our cellar. My hands started shaking because my brain couldn't make sense of it. The tape was fresh. The pencil lines were sharp. Someone was drawing these now. Someone was down here. One drawing stopped me cold. 2 figures standing in a yard, a tall one and a small one with a crooked left leg. Underneath, in careful letters, it said, "Me and Eli." I traced my finger across the small figure's crooked leg. Whoever drew this knew about my leg and knew what I looked like and knew my name. The hair on my arms stood up and every muscle in my body told me to run, but my bad leg couldn't run, so I stood there in the dark with my heart slamming against my ribs. The light swept to the far wall and hit a door. A deadbolt on the outside slid shut. The deadbolt was on the outside, which meant whatever was behind this door was locked in, not locked out. A sound came from behind it, not the furnace. Human breathing, slow and steady, and right on the other side of the wood. My heart hammered so hard I could feel it in my throat, and the phone shook in my hand, and the beam jumped across the concrete. I should have gone upstairs and called the police. That's what a smart person would have done. I walked toward the door because I had to know. Cold metal under my fingers. I slid the bolt bolt, and the scrape echoed off every wall. The breathing stopped. I pushed the door open, a twin bed against the wall, and a desk covered in books, and a lamp with a yellow shade. And sitting on the bed was a person, thin and pale, with dark hair past his ears. He looked up, and his eyes opened wide, and then softened, and then filled with tears. Eli. He knew my name. I had never seen this face in my life. He looked maybe 21 with sharp cheekbones and thin wrists. His eyes dropped to my left leg, and the way I was standing with every ounce of weight shifted right. His whole face crumbled. Your leg. His voice cracked. I did that to you. I stumbled backward until my shoulders hit concrete. Who are you? He told me his name was Caleb. He told me he was my brother. The word hit me like a physical thing, and I grabbed the door frame because the floor tilted under my feet. Brother. He pushed me down the stairs when I was 2 and broke my leg. Our parents told everyone he died and put him in this cellar 11 years ago. My vision blurred and I realized I'd stopped breathing. He spoke without looking at me, with his eyes on the floor and his voice flat, like he'd rehearsed this speech 1,000 times in case this moment ever came. I sat on the bottom step and stared at him. A brother. I had a brother who was alive and living under my bedroom. The thud I sometimes heard at night wasn't the furnace, it was him. But he told me he pushed me, and my parents told me he pushed me, and he didn't remember doing it. A 7-year-old who couldn't remember the worst thing he ever did. Something about that didn't sit right in my chest. I went upstairs and sat at the kitchen table and pressed my hands flat on the wood to keep them from shaking. I kept thinking I was going to throw up. A brother. I had a brother living under this floor. I didn't sleep that night. My parents came home the next afternoon. My mother hung up her coat. My father dropped his keys on the counter. He opened the refrigerator and pulled out a bottle of water and drank half of it standing there. Normal, like there wasn't a person in the cellar 10 feet below his shoes. I looked at them both under the kitchen light and my stomach turned over. 2 people who had lied to me for my entire life. I ate dinner across from my father. My fork scraped the plate because my hands wouldn't stop shaking. Every time he picked up his fork, I stared at his hands and thought about what kind of person buries their own son alive. The next morning at breakfast, I poured cereal and said, I've been having dreams about falling downstairs when I was little. My mother's spoon stopped halfway to her mouth. What kind of dreams? Like someone pushing me and then falling. And my leg. I looked up. Is that how I hurt my leg? My mother put the spoon down with a shaking hand and looked at my father. He stood at the counter with his coffee and his expression stayed completely flat. You had an accident when you were 2, my mother said in a careful, rehearsed voice. Your brother Caleb had these episodes where he would get violent and he couldn't control it. He pushed you down the stairs and your leg broke badly and it never healed right. And then what happened to Caleb? She looked at my father again. He watched me over the rim of his mug. He died, sweetheart, a few months after. He got sick. Her eyes darted and she picked up her spoon and put it down and picked it up again. She was lying and she knew I could tell, and the anger rose in my throat so fast I had to grip the edge of the table to keep from screaming across the kitchen that their dead son was breathing 10 feet below us. My father set his mug down. Where are these dreams coming from, Eli? I don't know. They just started. He repeated it back without blinking. He crossed the kitchen and stood behind my mother's chair. The mind does funny things. I wouldn't read into it. He put his hand on her shoulder and she flinched. After breakfast, he went to the cellar door and stood in front of it for a long time. That afternoon, I heard drilling. He installed a padlock on the cellar door and tested it 3 times. Then he looked at me across the kitchen. My skin crawled because the expression on his face said he already knew. I found the key to the new padlock in the junk drawer that night. Same brass key ring my dad kept all his spare keys on. I snuck down every night looking for the truth. The stairs got easier once I learned which ones creaked and where to put my weight so my leg held. The story my parents told me had a hole in it, and I needed to find it. The first night I asked Caleb to walk me through what happened at the top of the stairs. I remember standing there and hearing you crying. I remember Dad was up there with you. Then a crash. I ran down and you were at the bottom and your leg was wrong and Dad was standing at the top looking down at us. He pressed his palms flat on the desk. I don't remember pushing you. I was 7. I just know I did because Dad told me every day for a week. You did this. You hurt your brother. You broke his leg. I believed him. I brought him a radio the next visit. Music filled the cellar and he pressed his hand flat against the speaker and closed his eyes. His whole body leaned toward the sound like.
Well, that is it for today. Come back for part 2 later.